shaking my hand.
Who gives this woman to be married? Her mother and I. Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. On behalf of Danny and Jackie, I want to welcome you here with us this afternoon. And I know from their hearts, they just want to extend a thanks to you. Everybody understands how busy life is, and it's not easy to sometimes to get to events. But the fact that you're here today, I know, is really important to them. And I just want to extend that thanks on their behalf. I want you all to just be seated. One of the first weddings that I did, I was as nervous as could be. And when the bride came in and everybody stood up, I was so nervous, I just shot right into the ceremony. So the photographer came up to where I was standing, and she was saying, "Sit them down." But I thought she was saying, "I'm talking too loud." So I kept talking lower and lower and lower. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, why would a bunch of adults wait for me to tell them when to sit down? I couldn't believe it. But now, if you have one of these things in your pocket or in your pocketbook, would you please take a look at it right now, make sure it's turned off? We would all appreciate that. Okay? Just take a quick look at your cell phones, make sure they're off, okay? Thank you. There you go. I love that sound.
Oh, man.
Harvey, it's the bill collector's calling. Shut it off, bro.
Ask for later. Ask him later.
Handle it later.
He's got his running shoes on.
When I was speaking with Jackie and with Danny before we were starting to think about this and put the service together, these guys, I've known Jackie for a long time. How long, Jackie, since we've known each other?
Forever.
Yeah, it seems like forever, since she was a little girl. And Jackie was one of my students when she was in high school. And Jackie knows me and I know them, and one thing we want to do is they understand that they want God in their lives. Because we know how hard marriage is. We understand that. And without the help of God, well, let's put it the other way, with God's help, things can go a lot better. So when we were thinking about the ceremony today, that's what we want to start from. We want to start from God. So this afternoon's ceremony is going to be based on the scripture and what God has to say about marriage. And the scripture that we chose was Genesis chapter 2. And if you begin in Genesis chapter 2, you go to verse 18, the verse begins like this. It says that God looked at something in his creation, and when he looked at it, he saw that it wasn't good. It says that God said that it wasn't good that a man should be alone. Now, if you know anything about the scripture, if you know anything about the first chapter of Genesis, you know that after each day when God was finished his creation, it says that God looked at what he had created, and God says, "This is good." And when he was all finished, after the sixth day, when everything was created, it said that God just looked at everything, and God says, "Man, this is very good." That was Genesis chapter 1. By the time we get into chapter 2, verse 18, God looks at something in his creation, and he says that it's not good. And what God says isn't good, he says, is that a man should be alone. Now, we're not really given the details, because the very next thing that happens is that God brings all the animals before Adam and tells Adam to name them. And it doesn't seem to make sense when you think about it. But this is the way I think about it. That God goes to Danny and he says, "Danny, you know, it's not good for a man to be alone." And Danny says, "You know, I know you're God and all, but I don't happen to agree with you on this point. God, it's me and you. We go fishing if we want to. We go to movies if we want to. We hang out if we want to. What do you mean? I don't need anybody. I'm happy just the way I am." And it's just, God says, you act like you're the smartest guy on the planet. In fact, you are the only guy on the planet. But, but what God does is then he brings the animals in front of Adam and he says, listen, you're so smart, name them. So Adam begins to name all of the creatures and God brings them 2 by 2. And at some point in that process, it apparently begins to dawn on Adam that in fact everything in God's creation has a perfect match, everything but him. Because then it says that God puts Adam to sleep. Now I don't know what he's been like the last week. Maybe you wish God had put him to sleep. I don't know. That could be the case. You know, God, put him to sleep, please. So God puts Adam to sleep, and then it says that God forms, it says from the side, it doesn't really say from the rib. But God takes something from Adam, something from his side, and I want to kind of believe that it's right around the heart that he takes it from. And from that he forms the woman, Eve. And God brings Eve to Adam. Now, I picture that kind of just like what happened right here. You know, just the same way that Harvey and Rose walked Jackie up. I really picture God walking Eve up like that and presenting her to Adam. Because Adam takes a look at her and says, now this, as in contrast to all the animals, Adam says, now this is